All right, this is the groundwater lecture. I'm speaking from a different place, trying a different software. I'm speaking to you from a world in which there are 8 Jan Michael Vincents and 16 quadrants. Call it all Jan Michael Vincents. Call it all Jan Michael Vincents. Okay, but actually no. Groundwater. Why do we care about groundwater? Why is it important? We're going to divide this lecture up into several portions. We're going to first discuss sort of overview. Then we're going to give you a sort of crash course on porosity. And then we're going to talk about hydraulic conductivity and Darcy's law. Then we're going to talk about major environmental problems related to groundwater. Finally, we're going to look at cave and karst systems. All in all, this is one of my favorite lectures. It was the subject that stopped me from being disillusioned with geology, so take it seriously. All right. So again, this is all part of the water system. We talked about this the other day when we talked about reservoirs down here. Reservoirs and flux is the rest of this time. In terms of reservoir volume, if we look at the total volume of water on the Earth, yes, most of the world's water is stored in your oceans, but we can't really drink it without desalination. That's expensive. And a lot more of it's in glaciers and groundwaters, which we do not have, or glaciers and ice caps, which we do not have any of in San Diego. Groundwater represents a substantial amount of the global water storage, and many communities around the world are dependent on groundwater for their primary sole source of water, including the city of San Antonio. So let's go into a little discussion of the first major term in this. We're going to go into and we screwed this up, didn't we? Oh, here we go. Yep. This is gonna be a little glitchy, so I'm trying out some new software, so we'll see how it works. All right, so first term we're going to introduce here is porosity. Volume of rock. Volume of rock for volume of rock that is empty space for fluid. Now, porosity can take a number of different forms. Let's just put some sediment grains together here. I'll use brown for this. Get a couple of these sediment grains. If we assume they're kind of roughly spherical shaped, what you're going to find is that they sort of they stack on top of each other. Stack on top of each other, and there's going to be little bits of void space between the grains of sediment. So we're going to call this intergranular porosity. Intergranular. This is kind of the most common one. You've seen it on the beach. If you've ever spilled your beverage on a beach, notice how quickly that beverage disappears in the sand before you can suck it back up. Then yeah, you're aware of intergranular porosity. Let's see, I'll put some water in here. Wow, that is a vomit green color. Wow, vomit inducing. Intergranular porosity. All right. Second type of porosity is what we call fracture porosity. So let's first draw a rock. Then at surface, there's going to be lots of fractures running through it. I've had my head together. I'd show you some pictures of fractures. Now, we have these fractures. In a And on the south, none of these fractures have a lot of empty space, but in a rock like granite, these fractures, the porosity of any individual crack adds up to a substantial amount of space. And if you look at it, those granite mountains are fairly large. And so if you have a fracture that's maybe half a millimeter in diameter, add that up over a large enough volume of rock, you end up storing quite a bit of water in that rock as well. And you can see this out in places like Mission Trails. Let's see if I can find a slightly less vomit-inducing color for the rock here. You're right. So the water is going to be stored in these fractures here. So the final mechanism for porosity is cavity porosity. Porosity. You can think of this as the porosity you see in a cave or cavern. Let's see here. Draw a little cavern here. Draw some stalactites. See how it looks like a giant fill it up with the water. So this is typically what you see in limestone caverns and also in urban areas. Again, lots of caverns and stuff like that. All right, in the next module, we're going to show how now in the next video, we're going to show how it is that water travels through these pore spaces. All right, thank you very much.